Cork's Red FM.
It's very hard because Michael Shields has been really the fire brigade service for Cork this year, and he's been the one that's been put on the best players when the fat was in the fire as such. But I'd say Michael taking up some around the full back line. Listen, Ray Carey has had a very good season. I know he was unfortunate for the goal against Dublin when it went in over his head, but he's had a very good season. You know, Paddy Cassan has a very good season. Any of those players could mark. Marty kind of drifts out the field. He looks for a nice handy ball back, so if you're in his face and you cut off his oxygen, certainly it would limit his influence on the game. But any of those lads would mark him. But I would see Michael Shields picking up somebody probably like Benny Coulter or something like that, you know.
Tony, how do you envisage Cork approaching the game on Sunday? Do you think there might be a change of approach from what we've seen so far this year? I mean, it's generally been a kind of a slow build-up, hand-passing game, and the ball hasn't maybe been going into the full forward line as quickly as we'd like it to.
Yeah, well, that's true. It's sometimes watching Cork, they had 166 hand passes against Roscommon. But I've been at nearly all their games this year, and the way people set out their team now is different to the way they used to before. Roscommon defended really up the field. They pushed up on the Cork full forwards, never mind the half forwards, so they were putting him under pressure, kicking the ball. Dublin had nearly everyone behind the ball, bar Bernard Brogan. So when you look up, if you're a half back and you have a ball and you look at ball, you see as a line of blue jerseys. Do you actually kick the ball into the whole list of players, or do you actually retain possession? And that's what Cork did. They retained the possession. An All-Ireland final, I suppose, and if you look at Kerry over the last few years, they did something different in the All-Ireland final. There was a small bit of X-factor that was a little different to the way they played through the season. And that was, if you remember, the likes of Johnny Crowley against Mayo at full forward, where they put him in there, they played direct ball into him. They put Declan O'Sullivan in there last year. Just a little small change to the game they've done. Now, Cork have the players to do that. You kind of play the game as well as the way it develops, the way you see it on the day. Good players can adapt. And I think no matter what way Cork play it, I won't care once they win, even if they win ugly and win by a point. I don't think anybody will mind.
Yeah, and I suppose it's a fairly unique tie on Sunday, Tony. There's not a lot of history between Cork and Down in the Championship, only the one meeting back in '94 when you were playing yourself, obviously. Yeah. I suppose, I'm not sure if you remember a whole lot of it about the clash with Danny Cullity, the clash of heads that probably affected your memory of the game.
No, I just have a bad memory, but yeah. Certainly, 94, I remember clashing with Danny. Danny got injured. There was blood everywhere. I remember we were wearing white jerseys that day as well. But listen, the history really will have nothing to do with it. Cork footballers always have to create their own history, Paul, because there isn't really that much of a tradition with Cork football. Maybe we can build a tradition now with these kids because they've been successful all up along at underage, and you kind of grab the moment yourself. And playing inter-county football is a very selfish thing. You might only have one opportunity ever of winning something like an All-Ireland final, and these players know that. That's why it's such a devastating thing for the likes of maybe Johnny Mescala, or even Graham, or Anthony Lynch in particular, who has been playing since 1990, for the last 10 years, you know, for somebody like Anthony or Conor McCarthy or these lads to miss out on the opportunity, you know. But hopefully the lads that are there will grab the opportunity with both hands. Some of these kids are playing in their second or third All-Ireland, you know, so listen, they should grab it now, play it as if it's the last game they'll ever play, and think about next year.
Yeah, just finishing up, Tony, a prediction for Sunday. I suppose it's a tough one to call. We don't really know what to expect, but it really is going to be a tight game, I'd imagine.
Yeah, I've seen Down right through the season. I've seen them play Donegal in the extra time against Donegal, and I saw them against Tyrone. Now, they've got better all down through the season. Longford, Offaly, Sligo, Kerry and the Kildare game. The last day they got better. I see them improving, but I still don't see Down as the finished article. They have some fantastic forwards, a very good midfield now. Peter Fitzpatrick coming in there. But I still think that their full backline is quite vulnerable. I think their backline is vulnerable. Very good at attacking when they have the ball. But if Cork can move that ball fast into the full forward line and get Daniel and the boys in the full forward line on the ball, I think we'll get the scores. I'm kind of quite confident that Cork will win this game.
Yeah, just one more, Tony, very finally. I heard Billy Morgan saying during the week that if Cork do win on Sunday, that they could go on to dominate football for the next 4 or 5 years, given that we've a minor final and a lot of young guys still coming up apart from that as well. Is that something you go along with?
Yeah, certainly it's great to see the minors in the final. It gives good encouragement, and hopefully they've done well. They've done fantastic all season. It's great for those kids and the management and their parents to be in a minor All-Ireland final. I suppose if you're successful at underage, minor and under 21, it does go well for the future, but every year has its own story. And while you could say that the team that wins the All-Ireland will be around for a couple of years, you still have to work at it. But I think if Cork could just throw off this baggage, this fear of losing, this thing that they have over them, they could go on and win a couple of All-Irelands. They certainly have the talent.
Red FM. Cork's Red FM.